Welcome to another episode of our Ebony Live. I am your host, Christy Ferris. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. So, let me just ask all of you guys out there. Oh, I think I'm supposed to give an explanation of who I am. I'm Christy Ferris. I am an Emerson grad, class of, I promise you, I look a lot younger than when I graduated. But let me ask you a question. Do you have a product that you've been trying to get out? Is there some type of influence that you want to put out there? A story, a product, a TV show, a talk show, a panel? If that is you, which most of us are starting businesses, and if you haven't started a business in the pandemic, now is the time. And this is where you're going to get the information that to me is the most important. Two of our special guests that are going to be here tonight, that are speaking tonight. One is an Emerson grad. Yay. So we're super excited. Roger Fontaine is the co-founder. He is an accomplished executive and project manager, production consultant, writer, and travel photographer. His mini documentary series, Nature Forecast, won a Silver Dolphin Cannes Award. And he single-handedly created the Telepictures music department at Warner Brothers, which I will be working there on Monday. So we'll definitely chat about that. And we also have Rebekah Sager, also a co-founder. She is an award-winning journalist. She is well-versed in creating compelling and well-researched written social content for print, digital, TV, radio, broadcast, and new media. She has contributed to Playboy, The Washington Post, HuffPost, The Hollywood Reporter, Upworthy, Vice, Bustle, and many, many more. So please, please, please welcome our two guests, Rebekah Sager and Roger Fountain. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
That was quite an introduction.
It was.
You know, Emersonians, we have to do it, pretty like, we're here. We do. So welcome to Ebony Live, which is this wonderful place where we get to talk to Emerson alumni or alumnus about their experience at Emerson, what they're doing now, and how they can serve not only the community, the Emerson community, but the rest of the world and how we do it. And I really love what you guys are doing because there are so many people, including myself. So I'll probably be asking questions that I would ask myself or ask you about how to get our content out there. But before we dive into that, Roger, just tell me your experience about, being at Emerson, also around about when you graduated, if you don't want to say your actual year like me, because I graduated in.
Well,
so go ahead.
I graduated when they had a wall. So that was 100 Beacon Street, and the Cheers bar was right down the street. And yeah, that was Emerson. That's what I knew. And in fact, when I went to Emerson, 100 Beacon Street used to be an all-female dorm. And when I went, I was the first class to go in where they had men. So it was two floors of men, the rest were women, and the top floor was the Gus Tuberville, who used to be the president of Emerson. So
okay. All right. So you put a little bit of your year in there.
That's right. That's why I did it the way I did it.
Just a little bit. So for those of y'all who knew that particular president, then you know what years a roundabout of when he was there. And what was your experience like? Did you enjoy being at Emerson around the time that because I had a different experience. My experience was just kind of lukewarm. I didn't really enjoy Emerson until after I graduated. Because when I came in the 90s, I was one of 4 African-American in the performing arts as a musical theater and acting major. So I had a little bit of a different experience. Now I did love it as far as classes and everything, but my experience was a little bit different. It wasn't as community. So what was your experience like being a part of Ebony, if you were, and all of that?
Well, most every Black student, when I went to Emerson, was in Ebony, and we were very close knit. Everybody who I know who went to Emerson during my time, I'm still friends with. You know,
Oh, wow.
so it was a very unique time, and it was very fulfilling because we were such a small group, but everybody supported each other. Now I don't know what how your experience was, but my experience was very positive. You know, I loved Emerson. I loved the whole thing. Kevin, that's right. Kevin was my roomie. We had this radio show, Club 21. It was a jazz show. And I also
Nice.
did, we also did the Black Experience. I don't know if the Black Experience is still there, but Kevin,
No, we didn't have it when we were there, but go ahead.
you didn't have the Black Experience when you were there?
I don't think so. I don't remember anything about the Black experience. So
The radio show, it came on at night. I think it was
okay, so it could have been there. I know that there was a radio station for the Black students, but I don't know if I was so busy in the acting department that I probably just, and I was going to sleep.
Well, we had, you know, it's funny you say that because there are a lot of Black actors and dancers when we went to Emerson also. And there were a lot of models that went there. We had a very vibrant community. It wasn't a big community, but it was very vibrant. It wasn't 4 people. It was more like 50 out of the whole school. But out of those 50, we were all pretty tight.
Okay.
It was an excellent experience.
Yeah, that's good. So Kevin said we ruled the airwaves at night in New England.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
So Rebekah, just tell me just a little bit about your experience about being a journalist and the writing that you do and why this is important to you and how you got started.
Well, I got started in writing kind of later in life. I'm similar to you. I went to Carnegie Mellon, not Emerson, and I was part of the Black community there. And there were only 4 Black students actually in my graduating class in undergrad in the School of Fine Arts. So that's what I did until I went to a high school for the arts in DC, and then I went to Carnegie Mellon and studied acting. And then years later, I started as a blogger. And when people were like, what's a blog? There were some mommy bloggers, but that was it. So I really started my career just by doing it. And I think that's, you know, not to steal it from Nike, but that's really how I've done it, is just by doing it. And we didn't have, when I started, social media just wasn't what it is now. So you couldn't just go and promote your links on social media. So I would do something, I would blog. I wasn't paid for it. And I was writing about local businesses. I was living in San Diego, and it was right when the crash happened in 2008. And I felt like if I could highlight some of these business owners, maybe I could help them. No one was really writing about their experience and how they were kind of transforming themselves in order to survive in this time. And a lot of them were women, and they were young. And I thought it was interesting to try to like help them. And I didn't, you know, so if they owned a boutique or if they started a restaurant, and it was interesting to me to see kind of economically how people could try to survive like today, only we didn't have a pandemic to deal with as well. But so that's how it started. And I would write my little blog I would go and interview and write it. And then I would send it to I didn't even know about BCC. So I would just send an email with like hundreds of email names on the thing till someone finally said to me, not everybody wants to see everybody's name there. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they want to believe that they're special.
Yeah, exactly. So I figured that out after the first couple, and then it just kind of took off. And I got lucky because there was a guy who was at the regional magazine. He'd gotten fired. He was the editor-in-chief, and he'd gotten fired for whatever reason. And he went to digital. And so he was like, I'm looking for people who are, in that space. And would you do the same thing that you're doing for free? How would you like to get paid to do that? And I said, of course, I want to get paid. And so it really started kind of from there. And then I had a mentor, who was the deputy. She was a friend of a friend, and she was the deputy editor of InStyle magazine. And I went to her in New York and I said, how do I do this? Like, how do I make this bigger? And she said, build your clips locally and then start nationally. And that's literally kind of, I just followed her playbook. And I was lucky. I had a woman who took me under her wing. She was Latina, even though I'm Black, she was Latina, but she would send me all these stories of like the underrepresented people that she couldn't get into the pages of InStyle. So I was kind of writing a lot of lifestyle stories and profiles for whatever national outlets I could, send them off to, whoever would take them. And I was lucky because she was trying to help me, and she still helps me. If I need someone, a recommendation, she'll always step in and help me. And my dad was a scientist, and he was a mentor to people. And I think I got that from him, that you need someone to kind of help usher you along.
What I love that you said, that I'll recap what you said, was here's this woman that's trying to help people get into these major magazines that could not get in there. And I think that's something, which is why I think your company that you started, S.E.E.N Content, is so important, because there's so many people out there like myself that has content, but you are a producer, you're producing, you're doing this, or you're running the business, and we don't know how to get eyes or people into these businesses. So let me bring up your video that you guys have, and then we can chat about what you guys do.
Okay.
So I think I got to messed it up a little bit because I didn't realize that they probably didn't see all the words. I was like, oh, Christy, you gotta be better.
You can run it again.
You can run it again, I'm sure.
You know what? I know. I'm like, I think, what I'll do is I'll run it again shortly for the people who might jump on a little bit later. So that way we can
that works.
That way people can see. Yeah. So S.E.E.N Content. Give us just a little bit of insights about the mission and what it is that you're trying to get accomplished with it.
Well, I think you kind of tapped on it by saying, so S.E.E.N means bold stories evoke emotion now. That's what it stands for. So I think what you hit on about the difficulty of people being seen, I think we kind of then transitioned that to big companies who want their products and their brands to be seen by a more diverse audience and don't know how to do this. So we started this before Black Lives Matter, because I guess they just started mattering a few months ago. But so our idea, we preempted that, but that's the hope, is to target some of these companies and brands and newsrooms even that are looking for a way to have diversity, whether it's in the content creators or the content themselves, the content, and also to have their products be seen by a wider, more diverse audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they truly want to step out there and they want to have somebody to help them
better communicate
their message, then that's where we fit.
So when a person is first starting out with their business and, you know, they're spending their money trying to get their business up and running, is having a social media guru person like yourself, is it feasible? Is it affordable for them to do? Because we know that the big companies, you know, they have that extra cash in there, but is it feasible for somebody who's just starting off?
I mean, I think so. I think what we do is try to work. We work with anyone who wants to work with us, and we try to figure out a way to work together. So, you know, the deal with social media is that the most effective way for social media to work in the biggest way is probably to put money behind campaigns through Facebook, for example.
But
a lot of companies don't.
Way to lose it.
Yes, and a lot of companies don't have that kind of money. But what we could do is help you create the right brand messaging. So we would write that content for you, and then we would also show you the best ways to get that message out on social media. So, you know, working as a consultant, and then you could probably either learn to do that yourself, so we can teach you how to fish, or you can go out, if you have a bigger budget, and hire a full-time social media person. You know, I mean, depending on the size of the brand, we're not like full-time social media people. There are people who do that way better than we do. But I mean, and they just know how, and they have these big accounts, and they follow the money, and you know, with Facebook, and, you know, cutting it off when it's clicks too high, and, you know, they have this whole thing. There's a whole thing to social media. Yeah. But we can we create the content, we create the right messaging, and then we do know how to position it on social media. But the biggest thing is, what are you saying on social media? That's where a lot of brands just get lost. It's like everybody says, oh, the answer is to have it on social media and let social media do the marketing for me. But the truth is what are you saying? And a lot of times people will send us stuff. They'll send all of their things to us, and they'll say, can you condense this into a one-pager? And it's like, I don't even know what you're trying to say. I don't, you know, so sometimes it's just a lot of talking back and forth. We have to have, you know, and that's where being a journalist helps, is kind of sitting down and interviewing people and saying, what are you really trying to say? What do you want to say? What's the most important things? We try to kind of, you know, let's weed through, you know, because people get kind of mired in gobbledygook, like just speak, and it doesn't really make sense. So I think the important thing is to have someone really, and as a journalist, I'm used to kind of, you know, putting the pressure on someone and saying, I don't understand. Can you explain that to me? You know, anecdotally, can you explain it to me? What are you trying to say? And citing that, so that, you know, we're not just throwing things out there.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we've done that for books. We've ghostwritten a book. The first major draft of this woman's book. We've done it for nonprofits. There's a choir in San Diego, a homeless choir in San Diego. We worked with them.
They're on America's Got Talent this week, actually. They're finalists. Yeah, on America's Got Talent, which is great. So we did their whole website for them. And
we worked for one of the first Black hemp farmers in the country, the first one in Arizona. And now we're doing something for a Cuban guy in New York. He's created a film festival, and he's trying to create a platform for more Latinx creators,
artists,
to have a jump off point. So we try to mix. We try to put all these cultures together because we know where they're coming from. We know what they need. And then we basically hone their message to what they need to say, and to get it out to the people who they want to get it out to. So
how could I ask this question? So you write the content for them to put on social media, correct?
Well, on social media or in this guy's case for the Latin,
the website,
Latin Reel. Yeah, it's on their website. He's using it for fundraising. He's using it for a number of different things. PR. We've written PR one sheets for people, or sometimes it's as simple as their about page. Also, don't forget about Tavita. So that's a whole educational thing that she's doing.
Yeah.
And she has a big grant, and she just wants her website. You know, the America's Got Talent thing came for this choir after. So by the time she got to us, there were months ahead. She knew that her website needed to be in order once they went on America's Got Talent. Then the pandemic hit. Now this past week, there was voting for it. So they were worried that people would come to the site and it would just look like a hot mess. So they needed it to, and then, you know, everyone wants to interview them and maybe they don't have time. So this provides them, you know, an easy access point. Here, we can give you question and answer. We can, you know.
It's clarity.
Yeah.
Right. I think a lot of people like, I look at some people that I know, for instance, like my mom, who has a nonprofit that she's starting, but she doesn't know how to write the whole thing out. She has the vision and it's here, but she doesn't know how to write it. So I definitely
content.com.
Yeah, send her our way. We will look her up.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I started my blog, also, I used WordPress when it was free. And so I'm also like another thing that we've gotten into is you give us your passwords and we go into the back end of a website and put the content actually onto your website, which is another whole other thing. We're not coding, but I know how to handle most content management systems. So it helps with people like the farmers who had no idea, or even my friend who's got this educational grant website. And she was like, I've tried 16 times to just put my about page together and it just keeps disappearing. And, you know, it's just a matter of kind of getting used to how the systems work and how wonky they can be. And so, yeah, so that's another aspect of what we do. So for your mom, you know, it would just be like, you find the template, where do you go? How do you do this from scratch? And I did it from scratch, so that helped.
Right. So Nancy said, okay. And then
sure. Hi.
Well, thanks for checking in. So how important is getting this information out? Meaning, why is social media so important right now during this time, especially after we had the George Floyd situation? Why do you think it is important now for people of color?
To get their message out, you mean? Or
I mean, because I say that because the reason why I asked that question is everybody's donating money to Black content right now. It's like, you know, everybody's like, hey, Black people, we're going to give you money because we saw somebody get killed. So it's like we should take advantage. I know people whose TV shows are getting, you know, or scripts or, you know, everything is getting bought that's Black. So why do you feel like it's important now? And why do you feel like they should be using you right now?
I mean, if not now, when? I mean, we have to capitalize on that moment, I think. I think, you know, it's interesting. I wrote a piece for Upworthy about writers in I'm a member of the WGA too. So, you know, I've been to WGA meetings and, you know, so this is this moment, but is this going to be it? And that was really what my piece was about. It was an essay about, you know, will this moment pass? So
yes, it will.
So yeah, I mean, what concerns us is that it will pass. So I think if not now, when? I mean, I think, you know, if the door is open to crack, you better put your whole foot in there and put that down so that maybe there'll be lasting change.
This is a little bit different, but speaking of opening the door and what's happening now, there's we had a, what would you call it, a course?
It was an academy, like a weekend academy.
And
where they bring writers in for the weekend, and they bring writers and agents, and it's super expensive. Okay.
It's called the UPod Academy.
It's by invitation only. It's a big deal. Okay.
So anyway, we were on this. We did this weekend, and they bring in all these heavy hitters. And you
didn't tell them how we got in there though. Oh, it was a lottery system. For Black people for free. So if you were Black, you could throw your name into the lottery. So we heard about it through a friend who was a great ally. She's like, you guys have to do this. So we both did it. And then I didn't get in, but he got picked. Mm-hmm. And so then we said, well, hey, we're married. Can we both sit on? It was because it was a Zoom call. And now
they said yes.
And they said yes. So we did it. And now.
So there was a woman there who was.
I just want to add. I love how she's like, wait, hold on. That's how you know you guys are married. She's like, wait, hold on. You gotta tell the whole story. Back up. Okay, now go ahead.
Gotten in there without the lottery thing. So go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So there was this hotshot. There was a hotshot literary agent there, and she said, "Okay, pitch me." Okay, so
send me your stuff.
I said, okay, we'll pitch you. So I wrote up these two pitches, one for a book that I didn't have word one of, and for her book that she had started, and she only had like 20 pages, So I wrote her.
No, and we had a TV project.
Oh, and a TV project too. So I wrote her and I sent it to her, and she said, okay, I'm interested, send it. But I didn't have one word written. So,
look, you see, I was like.
So she went on vacation. So we took 6 weeks, and I wrote a novel, and she finished hers.
Wow.
But those are the things that you have to do. And by the way, that's the kind of thing that at Emerson and that you just learn how to do. It's like, okay, you don't know how to do it, go in and do it. Because when we went, and I'm sure when you went also, it was no one was saying, oh, you have to take this and you have to take that, you have to take that. It's like, okay, you don't know how to do it, go do it. So
here's the equipment.
Yeah, exactly. So I learned from that, and then throughout my career, I just used that as the jumping point. That no matter what came at me, I would say, yeah, I can do it. And luckily, to this point, I've never failed. So
listen, I know that this is about you guys, but I am going to say, so I do a lot of voiceover. I do on camera. That's what I'm known for. Right. A couple of TV shows that are on Amazon right now, and we can't act. There's nobody doing anything. So I also do voiceover work. So needless to say, all of a sudden, I built a studio, a little booth, a vocal booth, and got my mic, and now I'm hosting stuff. I'm like, we gonna create what you need? That's one great thing. Not one great. There's so many great things about Emerson, but that was the one thing that I loved about being at Emerson, was because they didn't say, oh, you can't do that until your junior year. They're like, nah, here, freshman, go and take that camera and go do a film. And, you live and you learn, and you trial and error. So I think that's amazing. And okay, wait, we have a couple of things here. Yes, you don't know how to do it. Go do it. Yes.
That's right.
That's what we do. That's right. Put your whole foot in the dough and crack. I was going to put my foot out, but I realized that I don't have any shoes on. And I don't want to get out of my feet.
Never think that you can't do. Right. And another thing that I always think about is, when I lived in Paris, one of the ways that I learned the city is that I would get lost. Mm-hmm. So I used to always say, and when I had clients there, I would say, get lost, and then you'll find yourself. You'll find what you want to find in the city, and you'll also find what you want to find in yourself. Ooh. So just get lost,
Well, I am lost right now in this. And I am finding my way through. right now, I'm like, I gotta create something. So let me jump back, and we'll come back to be seen content.
Yes.
And let me just play this video first before, and then we are going to. She said, "I'm about to shout, fight now." Yes. And then Black folks did not mind mentoring when I was at Emerson.
That's actually a very good point that Kevin brings up.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are older than us, the Steve Farriers, the Brian Bagwells, I can name a lot of names off the top of my head. Oh, Doug Holloway, so on and so forth. All those guys took us under their wing, you know.
Right.
And even if the guys who were older but had just come in, like Akua, he was older, but he would take us under his wing, and he would teach us about life. I have a lot of respect for Akua, so and a lot of these other guys. So you know, those were the things, the mentoring that was so important. You know, and that's one of the reasons why we're open to people when they come to us, and we try to give them as much information as we can. Obviously, we have a business, so you know, we have to make money, but it's a big part of what we do as far as extending ourselves to people of color, or if you're not of color but you want to reach out to the community, to our community.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important just because I do a business of acting class, and at first I used to do it for free. And I realized people weren't taking it seriously. They weren't showing up. They weren't doing anything. And when I started charging, then I started to get people who were really serious. Now, I say all that to say, I try not to let people ask me to do it for free, even if it's just a little money, because I feel like the exchange helps people to really take it seriously. And we all should start getting paid for what we're worth.
Sure.
Now, you might not charge, you know, the big bucks or whatever the case may be. I don't charge a lot for my classes or anything like that. But I feel like, you know, you should charge something so that people will take it seriously and actually, you know, don't take it for granted. So,
well, we have to. I mean, we are professionals. We've spent a lot of time in this business. We've done a lot of things. We've climbed a lot of mountains. So it's not like we can just give it away for free, because we're not in that situation.
Well, and the thing is, somebody said to me once about charging. We talk about as freelancers, you know, talk about what is your worth, and asking for what you're worth, whether it's asking for a raise or asking for, you know, $1 a word or $2 a word. And I think the interesting thing is, somebody said, you're not charging for this project. You're charging for the 10 to 20 years of experience that you're bringing to this project. And that's a hard thing for people to understand. And it's hard for us, because people come to us and we want to help them. We genuinely, most of the time, when people come to us, we're like excited to work with them. So, you know,
I have to muzzle her sometimes.
Well, yeah, because I'll say, oh, I'll just put it in your back end of your website. And he's like, that's a really valuable thing that you know how to do. Like, we should be charging people to do that. So
it is hard, because, you know, you are dealing with people, the first generation, who are getting started in building these businesses. So the resources are smaller as opposed to generational money that people have had. So it's a balance. And I know, because one of the questions I was going to ask, but I realized, you know, you're not necessarily the content creator, but I maybe you still can answer this. I find that what happens in the Black community, or in communities that are just starting out with their business, they will say, okay, well, how much is it going to cost? And then they'll put the money in, and it'll be the first month of like maybe doing the social media ads or something like that. You might have wrote some things for their social media ads or whatever. And then they don't see the results in that first month, and then they want to cut it off. Mm-hmm. So my question would be, you know, how long after you're doing all of this and you're writing the press release for people and you're trying to get the, more people to get eyes on their business, how long should they hold out to make sure that they're getting their money's worth and not just quit after the first month?
That's a good
Well,
question.
that's a very good question.
I mean, generally we're not in charge of people's like long-term social media campaigns.
Right.
Gotcha.
But we've noticed that, people will come in with a certain amount of money in their head, and they'll say, they think, okay, I have this much money to spend. And we'll say, well, that's going to get you this. So we try to do kind of a la carte menu for people and say, if you have this much, it costs this. And then there's add-ons to that. And then we have an hourly. So after that point, we're just going to have to charge you by the hour. And we've had a couple people who have said, like, they start with a certain amount, and then they're like, okay, this is it. I have to cut it off now.
But I think it's a good question because it's on several different levels. And I think that most people, there's a certain amount of education that needs to be had before you even walk into this space. Mm-hmm. Because if you just come in with, okay, I have $500 and I want this, okay? That's not the right attitude to come in with, because it's not about the $500. It's about understanding what it is you're trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it could be $500, it could be $50, it could be $5,000. But the point is that you need to understand what it is. Everything is a story. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay? So you have to understand that whatever we enter into is a story. Mm-hmm. So if you just come in with $500 and you say you just want this, that's just the beginning of your story. You can't jump from the beginning of your story to the end of your story with thinking only about the beginning, because right. You have to walk in and say, okay, this is a book. I have to read it to the end, but what do I have to do to get to the end? Mm-hmm. And that's the most important part. And that's one of the things that we do, is we have to educate people that this is not, you can't snap your fingers and this is just going to happen. You have to understand the process. You can't look at these people on Instagram and think that you can just put a couple pictures on Instagram and you'll blow up. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. You have to understand the process, and even if you understand the process and you do things in a certain way, and hopefully you do things in the right way, it still might not jump off the way you think it's going to jump off at that moment.
Right. So, let me ask you, just so I can make sure people are also understanding, and for myself. I know that you write the content for people. Are they also like press releases and things like that? Okay. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, we've written press releases. We've written the content for our websites. We've written the one-pagers. We ghost wrote a book. So we kind of, there's a whole, it's content. Well, that one was not marketing content. That was just editorial content. Right. But the marketing content, that's primarily what we do.
Okay. So what is your ideal, client that you would love to have come into your door?
Well, I think that the ideal client is someone who understands that you're trying to help them. One, that they understand what you're trying to do, or will listen to you and as you explain to them what you're trying to do. Two, and that hopefully they have the means to follow through with whatever it is that you're trying to create for them.
I love it. So for those of you who have jumped on a little bit later, a little bit late into the program, I think I said that right. Like, did I say that right? Did I say it wrong? Let's just show a little bit of what they do. Here we go. So those of you who would love someone to help you do some of the writing for any of your projects, for your website, for your nonprofits, so many different things, this is the place you want to be. We have Roger and Rebekah who are on here. I was like, huh? And they have a website that's called S.E.E.N Content. That is definitely something that you want to check out. I see a couple of questions and things that I want to get to, but before we do that, I want to bring up something else that you do, Roger. You are also a photographer.
Yes.
Would you like to just talk a little bit about that? I'm going to pull it up so people can see it as well.
Oh, my book.
No, she's pulling it up here.
Oh.
No, I'm pulling it up.
Oh, okay. All right. It's gonna grab.
Yeah. Well, you can grab it. I wish if I had it, I would put it up for you.
You do your thing.
Oh. Yeah. So we know that you are a professional photographer. Here are some of your wonderful, wonderful pictures that are on here. Can you just tell us what inspired you to do this? I know a lot of the pictures I saw were of people and experiences and people from all over the world. So
yes, well, I travel a lot, or I used to travel a lot. Now I go to the woods now.
I love it. I might need some pointers. I'm going to Yosemite and next week.
Nice,
so,
nice.
Yeah, and I'm not a camper, so I might need a little help. Go ahead.
Well, you can get cabins there, so
gotcha.
You'll be fine. I've been shooting since I was a kid, since I was in grade school. So and I used to draw also a lot. So I used to draw and do photography. And for a long time, once I got into music, I stopped actually doing photography. You know, after I got out of college and I started doing professional stuff, I got out of photography. So, but then I went to Cuba, and the girl who I went to Cuba with, she was my roommate at the time. She had 2 cameras. So she said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you use this camera." So she gave me the camera, and I just fell right back in love with photography. So
I love it.
Now I can't put the camera down. So as she'll say, "Would you leave that camera behind you? I really want to go for a walk."
Let's go back to a couple of these. Let's see. Kevin said, it's why we have to be the salespeople to inform young Black folks who we want to be in the business of communicating. Emerson should be a first option. We need to be able to influence through in our society. Or though in our society, I can't speak, you know, I'm dyslexic, y'all. So some days it just come out wrong. I love that. Go ahead.
Emerson is a very powerful school as far as communication is concerned. I mean, if you go to Hollywood, if you go to New York, if you go to, and it's not, by the way, this is something that maybe a lot of people don't know, but speech communication, Emerson is one of the top schools in the world. Okay? That means people who stutter, people who, you know, have those kind of physical maladies that you need a professional to help you cure.
Like the young kid that was on the Democratic Party yesterday. Yeah.
DNC.
That was beautiful. You know?
It was beautiful.
You know? So, and that's the cool thing about Emerson is that it is a total communication school. It's communication of dance, communication of radio, communication of acting, communication of theater, communication of all of that is a communication school. So one of the things that we need to do is those kind of schools. We need to bring, Carnegie Mellon is the same way, but we need to bring these young Black kids have to be able to know that they can go to a school like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they can grow in an environment like that.
I totally agree. And I want to say I'm not hating on Carnegie Mellon either, because my godson went there. So
Okay.
yes. Let's see. Marla said, "Hey, congrats, R&R. You have so much to offer. So many people need help with their message, language, and how to start open conversations. So good to see you, Roger, after decades. My bro and wife went to Emerson Film School. All right."
I went to high school with Marla.
Oh, well, thank you for watching. And then, of course, Libby said, "Teach, sir." Preach, preacher. Let's see. Good way to put that, Roger. That was some things that you were touching on a little bit earlier. We are such Emersonians. This is my tribe. It is a process. Amen.
Yes,
Nancy said, "Fantastic." Kevin said, "Let it be known that Roger is also an expert on the music side with cues and themes for sure." Yes, because I'll be working for Warner Brothers. I do looping for for different TV shows and movies. And so we obviously go into the ADR room.
Yeah, I did the theme for Ellen, and I did the theme for Judge Mathis. I did the theme for Extra. I did a bunch of stuff when I was there.
Yeah, I love it. So you were like on the ground floor, meaning like you started, that the whole thing as far as
I started the music department at Telepictures, and then that was absorbed by, or the music that was there started to branch out into all of Warner Brothers. So it was the first in-house music department of original music that they ever had.
So let me ask you, because I do like to brag about our Emersonians, everybody. I'm like, oh, they went to Emerson. So when I hear the theme song or the theme song for Ellen and Judge Judy, I can say, oh yeah, that was an Emersonian right there. So I can say that. I was like, yeah, that was my friend Roger from Emerson. Emersonians, we do things up in here. So I can say that.
Not Judge Judy.
Wait, which one did you say? Didn't you say?
I said Ellen. Actually, Ellen? Judge Mathis.
I'm sorry, Judge Mathis. Okay.
Extra.
And extra. Okay, go ahead.
And what else did I do? And most of the background music in those shows, like Tyra Banks' show was there, and I did most of the background music for her show. I didn't do her theme, but I did most of the background music for her show. And
so I watch Extra and I watch Ellen. So I will make sure when it comes on, my significant other, he's gonna be like, "How many times are you gonna tell me that?" Because I know I'm gonna say it like 15 times.
Now, I haven't. Now, here's the other part. I haven't been on that side for what? Because I moved to Paris, so probably 10 years. But when those shows started, I did those shows, just to let you know. Okay?
Listen, that's okay. I still brag about being on Scrubs, and that was like 17 years ago. I'm like, yeah, I was on Scrubs. I played JD's love interest. Yeah, I'm Kylie. What's up? You know what I mean? Like, it don't matter. You did it. Okay, and then COVID. Thank you, Jacob, for being on. Yeah, that when he was talking about how you would go and travel, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And then Roger's book of photography is amazing. Buy it, y'all. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah,
we gotta do like this with your book. Pull it up so we can see.
Where's my book?
Where's your book at? Let me put you on blast.
Yeah, you can buy it on rogerfountain.com.
Yeah. Go ahead and pull that up. Yes. Look how beautiful that is.
This is all in Ethiopia.
Where am I going? Oh, there we go.
There you go. Yeah, so you could definitely check that out. And then if you guys, let's see, I want to make sure that I put this up for you so that people can see where you can find them as well. RogerFountain.com. We also have RebekahSager.com. You guys can check it out. And then, of course, BeSeenContent.com. I know we got some more comments. Somebody said that is beautiful. Libby said that is beautiful. Wow, I know it was beautiful too. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I think we love your base business.
Jake.
Thank you, Jacob. You know Jacob?
Yeah, I know Jake.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. We always support one another.
Yeah, right. So Kevin and Jake and me, we went to Europe together. I don't know. Did they have the comparative
program?
Yeah, the program where you go to Europe for 1A. Do they still have 1A?
I don't know if it was, we called it the Wells program, what the Castle Wells, where we went to Holland. So it might be a little bit different.
No, we went to like 12 countries or something like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's something, we did something similar, but go ahead. Yeah.
So anyway, so I was going. So I went around and asked everybody I knew. I said, okay, you coming? So I basically dragged Jake and Kevin on the plane with me. I was like, you guys got to come with me because I'm going. So we went to Europe. We had a great time. And I know I'm dating myself, but it was back at the time when the Berlin Wall was up. So, we were behind the wall when the wall was up. So it was pretty interesting during that time.
I love it. So I also have another video. We're going to be wrapping it up pretty soon, but I do have another video that I would love for people to see of another content that they... Had me jamming over there. Are there any last words that you would like to let the audience know how to get in contact with you? We obviously have your websites that they can reach you, but what would you like to leave with them?
Go ahead, sweetie, and I'll come behind you.
I don't know. I mean, we're building Be.Seen. I think Roger said it great about kind of how these businesses or brands can tell a story and how we want to help them do that in a bigger way. I think we've been fortunate enough since we started to do it in little pieces, and people say, oh, they want this piece or this piece, but it would be really great to see something through from start to finish. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're aiming for the business to be, so that we can really take someone from that starting point, and even if they're seasoned, they don't have to be just someone starting out, but to really kind of see that project from beginning, middle to end. I think that would be something that we would be really excited about, because a lot of times we do get, as I said, pieces, but it'd be great to have a project for someone in the whole, in the whole, and that there's, resources behind it, so that we can really throw ourselves in here. My sister is a dynamic, amazing person who didn't go to Emerson, but she's working on her second master's degree. She's she's the smart one in the family. So.
I love it. Sure. I love it. And for you, Roger?
Well, I agree with her. And, we're storytellers, and we love to tell stories of people who haven't had a chance to tell their story, or from people who need to communicate a story to people who they're not quite or don't know how to get their story or tell their story to. So we would like to work with some bigger brands, but we also would like to remain connected to people who are starting things and are trying to to accomplish things, and we'd like to be connected to them as they grow. So we're multifaceted, we're open, and we appreciate creativity. We appreciate people who are trying to do things, and we appreciate. We just love people who are doing things, and who are trying to accomplish things. So, and we would like to be as much a part of that as possible, so that we can lend our talents to that. And I think that would be it.
So I will leave with this. We have to learn how to ask for help. We also have to learn how to bring on a team and learn how to delegate and give it to people who are experts so that we can move further in what it is that we're trying to get accomplished. And I think that's why it's so important that we have people like you, because giving my own example, sometimes I have my hand in so many different things that it's great to be able to delegate. Actually, that's not true. I'm always delegating. I will hire somebody in a heartbeat. I'm like, look, that is not what I do. I'm like, that is not what I do. You are the expert. You go ahead and make that work. But I think where we lack in our success at times is that we don't know how to pull the people together and have someone else who is an expert do that, so that you can focus on your business, so that you can focus on the other things that are important about your business. So it's time that we start investing in businesses like S.E.E.N content, because we need to make it grow. And if you have a business, if you have anything that you're doing, anything that you need, for websites or having anything written or books, these are the people that you want to reach out to now. You know that they're safe. You can tell that they have a good heart. You know that you can trust them. So don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to spend the money. You know that you got good people that are going to make it work. So thank you, Roger and Rebekah, for coming on the show, for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you.
Yes, your wisdom, and seeing this wonderful couple. Not only are you guys married, but you're also working together and making it work. So it's very special. And, please reach out. I'm sure I'll be reaching out soon.
Yeah, tell your mom to reach out.
I know. She definitely needs to, because she's trying to figure out how to write this mission statement. My brother, just so you guys know, my brother was homeless for a while. He was bipolar schizophrenic, and he passed away 2 years this month. And we were not in touch with him until, I guess maybe 10 years ago. The great thing about his death, if I had to say, is that we know that he was not homeless when he died. There was a program in Long Beach that helped him get off the streets. So with that being said, my mother wants to create a nonprofit organization that is going to help the homeless people. And so she's trying to understand how to write. She's like close to 70. So she's like trying to figure out how to write all of that stuff. So this might be a good fit for us. I'm glad we had you on the show. Just wanted to share that, because you have to put things out there. You put it out in the universe, you never know what you're going to get back, right? Share your information.
And the thing is too, in this group, like in Emerson, like in Carnegie, and just through work, we all have other people in our circles who can help us do those things that we can't. So if someone comes to us and says, I need video, we have you covered. If I need an SEO specialist, we have, if we can't do that, we're not afraid to kind of help bring in those other people within our circle, which is your circle, my circle, our circle, and I think that's really important too. So that, because I liked what you said. I think that's great. We do need to learn, hey, we can't do everything. No one can do everything.
But that's the educational process also, is that people need to understand, especially people of color need to understand that they don't have to do it all by themselves. And other people understand that, but a lot of our people don't quite understand that yet. And that's understandable because they haven't had those types of opportunities. So
yeah, I think my own opinion, I feel like people of color, first they think that they have to do it on their own, or they feel like they have to go with somebody who is up here or white or whatever the case may be. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But they feel like they're going to get a better quality or something. And sometimes you don't, because they're not taking the time to really, and they don't understand your product like we do sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's important. The last thing
that's happened to us a couple times. We've gotten so far in the process, and then the person says, well, now it's where I'm ready to move to the next, to my next level, where they're going to pay the person 3 times what they paid us. And often that person is not a person of color. So yeah, that's a reality, but it can't stop us, but that is a reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen. But we're here to show that we all stick together. No, it's all good. As he said, thank you. Just for some of our,
thank you.
Yeah. And then Libby said, I enjoyed this live. Thank you. This was great. Thanks.
Thank you, Julie. Julie Berry.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I was like, I'll let them read because they know the answer to that. I was like, I'm not going to answer that one. This was such great content. Thank you so much. So with all that being said, we are going to sign out. Thanks, everybody. Come back next week. Again, I am Christy Ferris. I'm your host for this week. I am an Emerson alumnus, I think is the way you're supposed to say it. It's all different great TV shows. Yeah. And I'll be back next week with 2 more wonderful guests from Emerson. So we will check you out. If you guys are interested in being on the show and sharing your information, your wisdom, your knowledge, please reach out at the EBONI Alumni LA at gmail.com, and we will get back to you about having you on the show. All right. Thanks again. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.